In this video, you will familiarize yourself with the AutoCAD drawing provided by assessing the object layer assignments. What that means is that we are going to explore and get to know the drawing you've inherited together. I will guide you through the process of making sense of the lines in the drawing. We will then assign layers to each object line. The layers will have predefined qualities to them such as line type, line weight, and colors. The colors are not our main concern here, except to say that you should always define object layer colors as index colors. More on that later. Let's get started. This video will demonstrate the exercise on a Mac. A separate video will demonstrate the exercise on a PC, since the graphic interface looks different on each platform. To get started, you'll need to open the AutoCAD file provided for this lesson. There are 3 different ways to open an existing file in AutoCAD. When you first start AutoCAD, you will see the Start dialog box. You will see a wide range of files that you've already opened, worked on, and saved. If you want to continue a work session on an existing project, pick from one of the icons shown in this dialog box. If you are opening an existing file for the first time, you should pick on the Open button here. Another method for opening a file is to go to the File pull-down menu to Open. And a third method is to locate the Open File icon at the top of the screen. Once this file is open, to begin the project, open the Layer Properties panel. You could do this by typing LA into the command line and then striking the Enter Return key on your keyboard. This command works on both a PC and a Mac. Another way to access the Layer Properties panel is to go to the Window pull-down menu to Layers. The shortcut key command is listed here as well. Therefore, yet another way to deploy layers is to simply type the shortcut key command combination Command 4 on your keyboard. This only works on a Mac. To dock the layer panel off to the side, pick on this icon. Pick again to float it back on the screen. To move it around, pick from the top gray band and drag it by holding your mouse down. To resize it, hover your mouse on the corner, and when you see the double arrow, pick and drag the panel either larger or smaller. This part of the video will begin the project assignment. All of the object lines on the drawing reside on layer 0. The objective of this assignment is to organize the different object lines onto the correct layers. This is a typical drawing that you might receive from a colleague on the design team in which general ideas early in the design process were drafted onto a single layer. As the design process progresses through each stage of development, so too must the depth of information conveyed on the drawing. Now begins the process of assigning meaning to the various lines through the properties defined by layers. We will follow the layer guidelines provided in the course. At this point, you should have already downloaded the PDF file and printed these guidelines. I will demonstrate how to change the object's layer assignment by using grips. Make sure the command line does not have an active command in progress. To cancel any command in AutoCAD, pick the Escape key on your keyboard twice. To use grips as a way to select something, just simply pick on it. In this case, pick on a line. Start with a line that you can easily identify. Since there is a window on this side of the plan, we can intuit this is an exterior wall. Grip this line. When you grip the line, as indicated by the blue anchor points you see here, AutoCAD identifies which layer the selected object resides, which is layer 0 in this case. To change the object's layer assignment, pick on the down arrow and locate the layer for exterior walls, A-wall-EXT. Now that the object is on the correct layer, we can use the Match Properties tool to match the rest of the exterior wall lines to the correct layer. Another way to locate the Match Properties command is to go to the Modify pull-down menu to Match Properties. Let's look at the command line to better understand the Match Properties command. Pick on the Match Properties icon or go to the Modify pull-down menu to start Match Properties. It is important to train your eye to read the command line instructions. In this case, the command line reads, Select Source Object. Pick on the original object. Once you've picked on a source object, the command line progresses to the next set of instructions automatically, which reads, Select Destination Objects. The next object you pick will be matched to the first object you selected. I will next select several lines at the same time using grips and a crossing box. The next steps of organizing objects from layer 0 will be to identify the window assembly and reassign to a glaze layer. I will next select several lines at the same time using grips and a crossing box. The key here is to pick through a portion of each piece of the window assembly. Once you have the window lines gripped, you will then go to the Layer Properties panel to the pull-down menu and reassign the layer from 0 to a glaze. Let's take a hyperpause here to look at the relationship between the exterior wall and window assembly. The term assembly simply means a grouping of object lines that represent one entire object in construction. In this case, several lines that make up the window reference, referred to the window assembly. This vertical line represents where the exterior wall frames the window assembly. This line represents part of the window assembly, and each of these lines should be organized on the correct layer. Refer to the industry standard layers as your guide. If you accidentally place a line on an incorrect layer, this is easy to modify. I will show you how I know this line is on an incorrect layer toward the end of the demonstration when I make the final test print of the drawing. And if you want to skip ahead to that part of the video, see the video marker note here. I will select what I think would be the interior wall lines next and reassign the object lines from layer 0 to A-wall-int. Again, once you have assigned at least one line to this layer, you could then use the Match Properties command to match the rest of the interior wall lines. Next, we will place the door graphic on the I-door layer or A-door layer. Either one is acceptable. using the blue window box instead of the green crossing box. Using the window box as a selection tool necessitates that you enclose the entire part of the line segment and the arc in order for the entire door assembly to be selected. You could select each of the components one at a time, but using a window box is a strategic choice over the crossing box when you're trying not to accidentally select smaller adjacent lines. Review the window box principles from the course index if you need a review. Doors are typically index color green, which is color number 3, or they could be magenta, which is color number 6. Red is typically reserved for an interior wall layer, but all of these standards will vary from design firm to firm. These are the standards for this course. Try to keep a flexible mind when it comes to color standards, but understand that you should always be using one of the 255 index colors and not true color or color books as color assignments for layers. These other color systems are used for rendering in AutoCAD, but not layer assignments. For a full explanation of color assignments, see the course index. These two lines in the drawing represent the cased opening between two adjacent interior spaces. This type of graphic is defined by two -2 lines on a specific layer entitled I-object-above. This designation is for any object above the 4-foot cutting plane. The elevation symbol should be placed on the A symbols layer. Alternatively, this could go on an A annotation symbols layer. The lines flanking the window graphic represent either a set of upper wall cabinets or a set of open shelves. This cannot be fully defined without either a note or a corresponding drawing, such as an elevation or section, which expresses an object's height on the designated wall. For now, these lines will be placed on a unique layer entitled I-object-above, which has a -2 line type assignment. Dash lines indicate an object exists above the 4-foot cut plane. The next set of objects to define is the base cabinets at the window elevation. Base cabinets have a depth of 24 inches. The countertop covers and extends beyond the base cabinets by 1 inch. These lines express the relationship between the base cabinets and the countertop and are defined on two different layers. In the plan view, the base cabinets are hidden below the countertops and therefore should be defined by a unique layer entitled I-object-below. There is a hidden 2 line type assigned to this layer. Likewise, any object that is hidden in the plan view due to the 4-foot cut plane should be placed on this layer. We will repeat the layer organization for the enclaved built-in area. Enclave means a smaller separated area from a larger space. Denote which objects should be placed on the countertop, hidden, and dashed layers. We might assume, since this line is offset 12 inches from the wall, that this definition matches the standard depth for a wall cabinet. Again, without a note or a corresponding elevation or section drawing, we cannot fully determine if this object line represents a cabinet or a shelf, or even maybe a soffit. These are the type of details that become more fleshed out as the project develops through the design process. The last layer assignment for this project is the island. A kitchen island is made up of a combination of base cabinets with a countertop material to provide the work surface. The continuous line makes up the countertop, and the parallel line here, offset 1 inch, represents the base cabinets. Now that we've completed the drafting portion of this assignment, it is time to save the drawing and create a virtual print from the Paper Space tab. Remember, the drafting of objects always occurs at full scale or 1:1 in model space as defined by this tab. The full-sized objects must be scaled to a smaller size in order to fit on a paper that can be printed. The scale must be one of the accepted scales from the architectural scale list. It is extremely important that drawings not be released at some random scale. In this case, the drawing scale has been preset for you at 1/4 inch equals 1 foot 0 inches. This is the list of definable scales in AutoCAD that can be assigned to the viewport. Keep in mind that the viewport window must be highlighted for the scale list to be accessible. Interior design and architectural drawings typically assign the fractional scales to industry drawings, whereas the ratio scales listed at the top of this list are typically used by engineers. To plot on a Mac, the shortcut command is Command P. Alternatively, you can go to the File pull-down menu to print. In the Print dialog box, you will want to select a PDF printer from the list, such as AutoCAD PDF High Quality Print.PC3, if it's available to you. The important thing to know here is that you're looking for a PDF printer of some type, because it will create a digital print. For paper size, we want to select ANSI A, which is a near equivalent to a letter size definition, set to landscape orientation. What to print should be set to layout. Scale must be 1:1. Never ever have fit to paper checked when printing accurately drafted drawings scaled in paper space through a viewport. Make a post-it note on your monitor that fit to paper is a forbidden setting. The plot style is always monochrome.ctb. More on plot style definitions in a separate video. Pick on the down arrow to see more print options, and make sure that Print Object Line Weights is checked. Shading is set as displayed. Quality is set to normal. If you are reducing a drawing from a large format print, then you will want to check the Scale Line Weights option here. This is not relevant to the lesson today, so we will leave it unchecked. Now, always conduct a print preview, which we'll do here, to make sure that all the lines are showing up as you assign them. We can see the print preview that the window assembly is missing and one part of the wall line at the window. I will close out of the print preview here. I am now back in the Print Setup dialog box. I will make sure that my settings are saved by picking on the Apply to Layout button. I will, however, cancel the virtual print and return to model space to fix the window assembly. Back in model space, I will use the grips to identify the object layer of the window assembly. I can see that the window lines are on the correct A-glaze layer. So the next step in the troubleshooting process is to go to the Layer Property Manager. This is where you sort of have to know what you're looking for, and I'll show you. Pick on the A-glaze layer and look at the column for the printer. There is a red line through the printer symbol. This means that the A glaze layer has been turned off. This means that anything on that layer will not be included in a print. Pick on the printer symbol to activate this layer to be part of the virtual print. Before returning to the print dialog box again, we have to troubleshoot the wall line at the window assembly. This line appears to have been accidentally placed on the A glaze layer and will need to be reassigned to the A walls -exterior. Now that we've fixed the layer issues, return to the print dialog box. You should have saved the previous settings from before. Conduct a new print preview. And if everything looks correct, hit OK and save the print. This concludes the project assignment.